Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy GrandmastaJ, and today I need to talk about something. So, Goldlewis, let's talk about him, shall we? As you can see, when it was kind of interesting because if you look at all these tier lists, right? You have Goldlewis, he's here in like B tier, A plus, B. You know, he's relatively like the same. Even when season 3 came out, they introduced Wild Assault. He's still in like A plus, B, pretty decent, pretty good, right? All of a sudden, now season 3.5 comes out, and we have Goldlewis over here in S plus tier, top 1. Jonathan Tene's tier list, S tier, he's way up here. Lord Knight's tier list, he's far and away up here. He's up there, right? What's going on here? All of a sudden, Goldlewis seems to have gotten from pretty much nothing to pretty much everything. And now this kind of goes into an issue that a lot of pro players were saying, which is that it's not necessarily an issue with Goldlewis. It's more so an issue with Wild Assault. Now, here's the thing about Goldlewis that people need to understand is that Goldlewis has always kind of had the same issues, or well, I mean, he is a specific archetype, right? And what is that archetype? That archetype is, so you have characters that if they are directly next to you, they are one of the greatest characters in the game. Why? Because being directly next to you is their win condition. They have to be directly next to you in order to run these like very difficult, very hard to deal with 50-50s, or these like super oppressive like moves that are tough to deal with. Goldlewis was one of those characters, right? He was one of those characters where specifically if he got directly close to you, if he got very close to you, he was able to do his Behemoth Typhoon stuff, and then he was able to just win the game, right? Or I guess put you in very uncomfortable situations. Now, has that changed? Not really, although it kind of got toned down. What do I mean by that? So in one of the seasons, I don't remember which one it is. Also, forgive my Behemoth Typhoons, they're a little chunky, right? In one of the seasons, as you get, first of all, Goldlewis, let's talk about his win condition. He wants to be right here. Why does he want to be right here? I'm gonna put my opponents at all guard. He wants to be right here because even if you block him, right? He does so much chip damage with his Behemoth Typhoons. That coffin do got spikes on it, okay? If I say I just do 3 of these, right? I'm gonna just do 3 of them. Whoops. Hold on. 3. Come on. Don't make fun of my Behemoth Typhoons. What I tell y'all? Don't make fun of them. Don't make fun. I did 3 of those. And now what is that the equivalent to for a different character? Whatever. It doesn't matter. That's like a combo from some characters, like straight up. That's a combo from some characters. So clearly he wants to be there, and then he's able to mix up stuff like throws, right? Go into like very hard to reactable like highs, and then if he does manage to hit you with any one of these moves, then right, he's able to do a lot of damage, or like a pretty reasonable amount of damage. There we go. Hey, look at that. He does a lot of damage. Now, so he falls into this archetype, which like he's supposed to fall into. He's supposed to be that kind of character that when he gets very close to you, he's extremely dangerous. Now, thing is that at some point they did make changes to barrier or faultless defense, where there is a minimum pushback distance. So now all of a sudden, you do faultless defense, he is very far. He's not really able to get anything. He's able to get maybe this into that, and that's kind of it. But now he's pushed all the way back here. So now Goldlewis's game plan all of a sudden got pretty heavily nerfed. So that's why he kind of went from a character that was initially slept on to then Gobo brought him into the limelight with how good Gobo is, and he was just 2-touching every single person on planet Earth, sometimes 1-touching them. And then all of a sudden, after that came out, he went all the way down to like this very low tier. Now, he did have some things going for him even at this point. Now, first and foremost, he had the security gauge. Now, the security gauge, what it used to do, or what it does now, is that it allows him to do 2 of his kind of like, I guess so let me explain this concept. Big bodies, they always have something that helps them get in. It's just not necessarily like the strength of it kind of varies, right? Like Potemkin's moves, he has a lot of armored moves. He has Slide Head, which is a low that if you block it or you're able to block it, people were like, oh my gosh, no, Slide Head, it's not unblockable anymore. Potemkin's gonna suck, and then people were still getting hit with it anyway. Anyway, regardless, I digress. He has Slide Head, which allows him to immediately just get in from full screen, and it takes a hit. He also has his freaking, when he charges in at you, that also takes a hit of damage. So if he has meter, he's able to just kind of do that and get in, right? Well, what Goldlewis has is that he has a security gauge, and now he has two things. One is a gun, the Skyfish, and two is this little buddy right here, right? This little guy right there. Now, this little guy is super duper good. It was super good when he was considered bad. Now let me just give him oh my gosh, there's so many characters now. Now, even when he was bad, it was super good. I guess you could say considered bad, because what used to happen was that this move, even when Goldlewis got hit, this move would not go away. So what it allowed him to do was that, say for example, he's playing this weird neutral game, right? Say he manages to get in and your opponent kind of bursts you out back to full screen. All of a sudden, I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna just throw this out and then run back in at you, right? I'm gonna just run at this range where like you kind of have to do something, right? And if you tried to jump, you had one of the best air-to-airs in the entire game. You really couldn't do anything. So he at least had one get out of jail free card, or get out of the doghouse free card, which was tied to a security gauge. Now, they did make changes to this over time, which was that when you get hit, it does go away, right? I'm just see if I can demonstrate that. When you do get hit, it does go away now, right? Like, as you can see, right, they also made it a little bit better, which is that when your opponent gets hit by it, it actually causes a hard knockdown, which allows him to get in even better when you get hit by Skyfish, or when you get hit by, Skyfish. It also does a hard knockdown, which allows him to actually be able to get in and do something off of it. But the same thing still applies, right? It was tied to a specific resource that he didn't really have huge access to. He also had Burn It Down, which essentially created this wall behind the opponent, which honestly, this move was fantastic. It was kind of a little bit underused, except by the better Goldlewis players, but it was the same thing. It was okay. It wasn't anything crazy, and you only really had to deal with it once. So once you deal with it once, you don't really have to deal with Goldlewis anymore. Then they introduced White Wild Assault. Now, White Wild Assault wasn't too bad initially, right? White Wild Assault was kind of fine because it didn't really go that far, right? But then they were like, it's kind of weak, so maybe you should go further. Now, that is deceptively, you might look at that and be like, that's not really that bad, right? But look at how far he puts the coffin out. That's where it actually hits, right? So it goes 3/4 of the way across the screen. So if I'm here, right? Oh, maybe not there, but if I'm here, it hits my opponent. My opponent gets hit by it. And they're guard crushed. So now they're guard crushed. They get hit by this move. I can immediately go into a Behemoth Typhoon, right? Say, God forbid I do it closer. Right? I'm in throw range. I'm in tick throw range. I can just go into my Behemoth Typhoons, right? And this is only tied to half a burst. And also, if you get hit by this, it goes a hard knockdown. Now, all of a sudden, you have to eat one of my Behemoth Typhoons. It's not even a question. And, okay, well, he doesn't have burst. Well, now he has his security edge. Now he can run in and go and kind of like follow after that. So that's one of his get out of jail free cards. Well, he doesn't really have that much security gauge. Well, I got 50 meter from all that stuff I was doing, from all that grounding and pounding. All of a sudden, I created a wall, and now you have to interact with me. Oh, well, he doesn't have those. Well, now he has burst again, or at least half a burst again, because he has so much health that you're gonna give him burst. So you're hitting him, and then he gets his burst back, and then cycle continues. So you can kind of see the idea where it's like Goldlewis, his weakness is that you have to get in, right? Now, he had things that helped him get in, but these things were all risky, right? These things were all risky or tied to a very specific resource that required time to fill up. That's not the case anymore. And because it's not the case anymore, he's able to cycle through all of his options you have to deal with him way more. You have to deal with interacting with Goldlewis far more. And if we go back to, I was talking about effective health when I was talking about Asuka. If we go back to that effective health argument, let me just show y'all something. Here we go. If we go back to this whole effective health situation, well, you see Goldlewis, he has the third, I mean, I say third because these two are tied for second. He has the third highest effective health in the entire game. So if your idea is to outbox him, not really gonna happen. He also has more damage than Potemkin. He has about the same damage as Nago. He has about the same damage as Slayer. Slayer is more consistent, but still. All those characters don't have the situation where it doesn't matter if you block or not. It just doesn't matter. Whoops. Oops. Don't make fun of my being typhoons. Look, it doesn't matter if you block or not. It really doesn't. I can do this stuff all day long. I can do that all day long. And you're gonna have to use some meter, or you're gonna have to eat. Y'all see my point. I'll see my point. So the question is Goldlewis really that good? Top one, debatably not, right? He still kind of struggles. We haven't seen a lot of Goldlewis players actually like win super majors or anything like that, right? He is one of the most, like, he's still kind of inconsistent, right? Because again, he's highly meter dependent. Of course, you can say, well, he gets that meter pretty often. Yeah, true, but he's still meter dependent. So he does kind of struggle against characters that are far less meter dependent, or characters that are just strictly bad matchups. Like, he still does have some bad matchups, characters specifically like zoners. Like zoners, he can white wild assault in, but he can't really do all those other things to get in, right? Excuse me. So he does kind of still get gatekept by some characters. If you're running a bracket with Goldlewis, you are still capable of losing due to matchup issues. Whereas a character that is more solid, for example, like Nago, with maybe like a side pick for the more annoying matchups. Like, honestly, funnily enough, Slayer is a super duper good sub for Nago players. Anyway, or like a Leo or something like that, those characters are far more consistent. Those characters are able to like win majors because their bad matchups are not that bad. Goldlewis's bad matchups might not be that bad anymore, but maybe we just haven't seen a Goldlewis win that much yet. So anyway, I digress. That's all I have for you guys today. Just a little something to think about. Goldlewis are that strong? Answer's yes. Maybe not top one yet, but kind of getting there. Wait, before we go, another side note is that Bedman has White Wild Assault. Nobody really cares. Bedman has White Wild Assault, and Potemkin has White Wild Assault. Nobody really cares, right? Like, nobody gives a fudge. Why is that? Because, well, again, they don't really have that situation where it's like, Goldlewis, when he gets in, he just takes part of your life every time. So, you know, Nago Nago, Bedman, and Potemkin, they actually have to do something when they get in. Goldlewis, he just has to get in. The rest will happen. Your opponent's gonna die anyway. Anyway, that's all I have for y'all today. Bye-bye.